Yay, it's you. And welcome back, Shutter Squad. I'm Kate, your host, and in today's episode of The One Behind the Lens, we're diving into the world of photography websites, SEO, and the evolving role of technology in our industry. Our guest is Jeremy Hyler, who has been immersed in film and photography for nearly 2 decades. From commercial projects with major brands like Honda, ESPN, and the Discovery Channel to directing and overseeing creative strategy at PhotoBiz.com, Jeremy brings a wealth of experience helping photographers tell their story online. In this episode, we talk about practical SEO strategies for photographers, how AI is changing the industry, and ways to make your website not just look beautiful, but functional and effective. Plus, we'll share an exclusive offer for listeners, so you'll want to stick around for that. Welcome to the One Behind the Lens, the show for photographers building bold, beautiful businesses behind the lens. I'm Kate Biz Bestie, and I got one thing to say before we begin. Jeremy, thank you so much for taking the time to come on The One Behind the Lens. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
As I said in the introduction, Jeremy is the creative director at PhotoBiz.com, which is where I have my website. We thought we would kind of talk about some SEO and some AI type things, but at first, I really would love to just get a little background with you, Jeremy. So can you share your journey into becoming a creative director at PhotoBiz and what the role details?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been into art, film, and things like that. So my starting point was getting into the film industry. I started there back in 2003. And I've been working as a profession in that space, for mostly commercial work. But, I worked on some films, but mostly a lot of commercial stuff. So I've done things for like Honda Jets, ESPN, Fox, you name it. So a lot of television, Discovery Channel.
Oh,
I
wow.
worked,
Nice.
overseas for a while for that, for shows like Well Wars and then some smaller programs like that during that time. But then eventually I got to where I was like, I really like the editing portion of stuff versus just the shooting. So
Mm.
I worked at a post house for a couple years and then kind of hopped between other businesses with their videography programs that they had there. And then, PhotoBiz was looking for someone to take over a lot of their video direction. So I joined there, and then about 6 months in, they saw that I had a bigger passion, not just for video, creative direction of everything, like how we should be talking to our audience, how we should be helping, assisting our clientele, and how do we get people excited about the products that we have. So that's what I've been doing for over a decade there now.
Oh,
And it's been
wow.
really exciting. And it gives me a chance to also do something I really love to do, and that's help people. With doing a lot of commercial work, I'm telling stories in like few seconds. And I've always had a passion for websites. And this kind of always brought it kind of one to one together as like, oh, I love telling stories. I love website creation. How can I do both? Here we are at PhotoBiz.
I love that. And I love that how it just kind of evolved into like you're still doing what you love, and it's
Mhm.
just in a kind of a different little way of where you started. How has PhotoBiz evolved to meet the needs of photographers in today's digital first world?
Oh, well, that's a big there's a lot that's going on in the last we've been around for 20 years. We started out purely as like a album, like proofing and client galleries back in 2003, and then it shifted over to web design. So we were doing Flash during that time, which was the most prevalent way to showcase a website that was something not like GeoCities, or if you remember those websites of that era, right?
Yes, yes.
They were doing something different in that space, giving them something that was easy to use, which we haven't defied on. We still try to keep an easy to use tool
Mm,
as part of the main mission statement for the brands. Like, how can we make this easy for people to get online, make something beautiful, and go forward? Now, that's evolved over time as, the technology changes. Flash is no longer prevalent in our world. HTML5 became a thing, but then that changed. So we had to, constantly shift with those changes to become something more beautiful. Now, there's a lot of competitors in the space now, but a lot of things that I think they've done that we haven't changed is ease of use. I think they try to go for more the what I like to say the sandbox design, where you can kind of drag and drop wherever things go, but that doesn't mean you know how to design. We kind of
Mm,
put parameters around it like a true sandbox, preventing you to making yourself like look unprofessional. We try to give parameters and grids that you can build within that no matter what you look at it on a phone, a tablet, or on desktop, it's going to look gorgeous. Versus I've seen some people like, hey, check out my website, and they showed it to me right there in front of me on their phone. And I was like, where's your logo? Oh, it's hanging off the side over here for some reason. I don't know why. I'm like, oh, well, that's because of that type of builder. You have to build twice in a lot of these other builders. So we always try to constantly think forward. How can we make it easy is always the main goal, but also how can we give you more expansive tools at the end of the day so you can have, a beautiful gallery, sell online, have a CRM, you name it, a full studio management at the end of the day.
yeah, and I have to attest to the ease of it, and I I love where it's gonna look how I want it to look on the phone, like not gonna
Hmm.
have my logo somewhere else in space. And I don't, because I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should check that, but I usually don't even really check it very often just because I just know it's gonna be
Yeah.
okay. But then every once in a while I'm like, oh, maybe I should just make sure. And I love too when you are building, you can there are buttons that you can just proof it right as you're building. You don't have to get your phone out,
Yeah.
where you can say like, this is how it's going to look on a tablet. This is how it's going to look on your phone. I'm not a designer. I want, I do want the ease of it to be like, okay, that's going to look good. And I don't need a lot of choices. Like, I like having the choices of different, templates and things like that. But I feel like if I get too much, yeah, it might just be people might be like, what am I supposed to be looking at?
Right. Some people get into the idea of like more is good, but sometimes more can be complicated and distracting. And
Right,
I see that a lot with design. I just want to be able to go somewhere, get the facts, and then be able to have a conversation with you at the end of the day. And,
right,
if there's embellishments on there, great, but it doesn't have to go like, you don't have to make all the streamers and everything to really sell over people. You just need to be able to have something that's intelligible, that people can actually read some information and feel unique to you without like making it difficult to navigate.
right. Because at the end of the day, you want them to navigate to contact you or purchase something. So yeah,
That's the
and
end goal, I hope.
yeah. So going into SEO for photographers, I feel like SEO can often feel overwhelming for creatives.
Yeah.
What would you say are the top three SEO strategies that actually work for photographers right now?
Okay, so let's just dive right into it real quickly.
Okay.
So there's a few SEO strategies that you can work on. Geo-targeting with your keywords, that's a big thing that is definitely working right now in the Google space. Their algorithm's constantly shifting, but we definitely know there's a three things that you can work on. So geo-targeting. So think about if your business, is a Dallas family photographer, make sure you're putting that specifically in your SEO keywords. Or organically into the text on your web pages itself. You don't have to force it or say
Mm-hmm.
it multiple times, but you can say, "Hi, my name is Kate, and I'm a Dallas family photographer." Like, there we
Mm-hmm.
go. It's organic enough, but you don't have to keep doing, which I still see to this day. And it's a lot of it's just old tactics or bad advice where it says, I'm a Dallas family photographer. I love doing family photography in Dallas because Dallas is where I live, and that's where family photography happens to be my job. It's like you keep telling people, and you're thinking you're tricking Google somehow by doing this, but Google's smart enough. And the way I've
Mm.
described people for years, and now that AI is so prevalent now in our space, I was telling
Mm-hmm.
people for years the reason why they wanted this type of speech to feel organic is because they want to sound more human. Now, that's
Mm-hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
AI was looking at what pages they were constantly looking at your websites. This is what's digestible. This is what people find engaging. versus the old tradition of feeling like the yellow pages. Like before they were more of a directory, but now they're getting into more story and engagement based algorithms. So the
Okay.
more organic you sound to a page, the more visibility it's going to display you and give you better rankings. And overall experience for your customer is going to feel better because they're not reading something that feels like it's already written by a robot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That it
Now,
is like a story.
yeah, and that's the way you should be thinking about it when you're putting your website together is what story do you want to tell? We've seen some in the last few years, different types of landing page experience uh, ideas come up like story brands. Those are, real niche ideas of like what you can do for the customer. At the end of the day, it's really just making sure that the information is there, the who, what, when, where, and why. We know that from
Mm-hmm.
high school, middle
You,
school era. That's
yes.
all important context clues. And Google works off that to know where to place you, what you do, and how they can find you. So that's really
Mm.
what it comes down to.
Because like you said, I think we might overthink what we're supposed to do. And like you said, where you were like in Dallas, in Dallas, in
Yes.
Dallas, like
They keep saying it. You're like, okay, I get it. And there's so many times you can say Wahoo on a page before it looks like you're saying Wahoo.
right, right.
So, and that's what you really want to make sure that, it feels organic and the customer's experience at the end of the day is really what you're going for. I know there's some people that want to rely on old tricks and stuff, but Google's now kind of penalizing you secretly by
Mm-hmm.
saying like, well, they've said this word like 10 times on this page. What are they doing?
Oh, okay. So yeah, so don't be count your words there.
Right.
Like, yeah, don't be
Maybe two or three times tops, I would say, if you want to make sure where people know you are or what you do, I think
sure.
that's enough to get you by. But think about it per page at that point,
Mm,
and this will kind of lead into the blog. Blogging is very, very big. It's still to this day. In the
mm-hmm.
last 20 years since the blogosphere, quote unquote, released, it became a great way for you to tell your stories, talk about your sessions, location guides, you name it. You can do it naturally for your SEO, and it doesn't take up page space, I guess you could say, like the
Oh,
navigation, right?
right, right.
So, we say about 10 items minimum or, maximum for your navigation, but, that means unlimited blogs
Mm,
because you click on blog, you just see all the blogs. So instead of just having, your 10 pages fight for out of the billions of pages in Google, now you can start competing with having, well, I have over 100 blogs now, so I have 110 pages.
right, right. And
And
oh, go ahead.
oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, and I was just gonna say, I feel like photographers really are always like, do I really need to blog? Do I have,
Hmm.
and it's like, yes, you do. You do need to blog.
Yeah, and it's really it is important, but it just seems so tedious. I know for a
Hmm.
lot of photographers and just in general, anyone who doesn't like to
Yes.
write, you're like, oh, I gotta do this extra piece. But what's nice is you can kind of do it, with a lot of builders. You can create a batch, like, okay, this weekend I'm gonna write 3 or 4 blogs, but I'm gonna schedule them to release, this day, the next week, and then the next month. You can
Mm-hmm.
stagger it out and just take a day to just do that work so you're not being like last minute like let me go put this thing together. And a lot of
Right.
photographers also caught up in what I like to call the film strip blog, where they'll show an entire session like, okay, we don't need to see 200 pictures in this.
Right. Yes.
Show your 10 best, and
Yeah.
then you can link it to a deeper like gallery
Mm.
for that session if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That way they kind of get the idea, because at the end of the day, as a photographer, when I go to a gallery or anything on your portfolio, within 15 to 30 shots, I'm probably going to be like, okay, I'm hiring this person.
Sure. You're either gonna whatever your answer is gonna be. Yeah.
Right. And at that point, it's like, can I afford this person? If, if the talent
Yes.
is there, I'm like, oh, I'm sold. I want this person. Okay, can I afford them? If not, how much do I have to save up for?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But some people get caught up in like, I've seen a gallery for like 1,000 photos. And at that point, you're slowing down your website, which is also an
Mm.
SEO issue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why aren't people going to my gallery? Well, Google says people leave the website and don't go all the way down the entire page because there's 1,000 photos. But
Oh.
if it was 30 images and then like a form and then some context clues about the who, what, and when and where about you, about this gallery, now you're making a targeted landing page experience for that portfolio page. So if you
Mm,
do multiple types of photography, like boudoirs, seniors, families, you could have
mm-hmm.
three landing page experiences for those types
Mm-hmm.
of photographs. So just kind of think about it that way when you're putting it together. Like, okay, I want to craft an experience, a little bit of text about why you're going to make that senior session experience unique. Okay, show about 15 to 30 images. Okay, now that looks great. And then talk about a little bit about the session below it. Like, here's the experience. We're first going to have a consultation. We'll go do the shoot, and then you'll purchase your images and extras at the end. All right, you're ready to book. Either have a call to action to book right there or put a form right on that page, and it's a full experience right away.
Right. So they're not like going back at having to find where they have to do all the things. And I believe, well, I know for 100% that I used to have that where it was like, here's where the pricing is, here's this and this. And I actually think it was one of like when you guys still did it on Facebook,
Hmm.
where you would like look at our sites
Yes.
and I'm pretty sure it was you that did it. And you looked and you were like, you should just have it all on one
Yeah.
thing. And that's now what I have where I do seniors, I do boudoir, and you just go to that page and you're going to find all of the information for seniors.
Absolutely. We still do the website reviews. Now it's just on YouTube. So if you want to
Right.
find us, you can go to youtube.com/photobiz and we'll
Okay.
do those every Friday. So if you want us, we'll look at any website. So it
Mm,
doesn't have to be a PhotoBiz client or anything. So if you have any type of website, we'll take a look at it. And this is a way for me to see what everyone's doing, see what they think's effective because there's always flaws in anything, right? So we can see like, oh, like performance on that, like the user experience where like, okay, click here to go here. Or now you have to navigate to the menu. Oh, this menu, some reason when you scroll, the menu disappears on this website. You have to think about the user experience at the end of the day versus, your aesthetics in a way. Sometimes the things that
right.
we find most attractive might be the most harrowing thing for a customer to figure out where to go.
Right. Right.
So,
And they might, I mean, if they really, really want to find, get a hold of you, they're probably going to dig deeper. But for some
yeah,
people who are really maybe like shopping they're like, I'm just kind of getting my feet wet of like to find a photographer for headshots or whatever. If you make it really hard, I feel like there are so many of us that they
yeah,
can just move on to the
yeah.
next.
Let's just say mom and dad are looking at the website because the daughter saw these photos
Mm,
and they're like, Mom, just go check it out. And she's like, okay, let me get the dad's like, I don't know where to go. Now you're
right.
dealing with that situation. Like some weird little statistics that I've found. And I always tell people this because like scripted fonts are
Mm,
difficult for men to read. So if you have
mm.
dad looking at the website and there's like a paragraph in scripted font, he's like, well, what am I looking at? Apparently like 80% of men can't read scripted fonts.
Really? I did not know
Yeah, it
that.
was a wild number. I was like, that's crazy. But,
Yeah.
as we go time on, like they're saying cursive's ending as like
Mm,
a way in schools and stuff like that. So if
yeah.
you have a young father, he's like, I don't know, maybe he never wrote cursive.
Right, right, right. That's true. That's true.
So, so things that we might think is aesthetically pleasing, I tell people if you use a scripted font, just use just like 3 to 4 lines, like
Mm-hmm.
words, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make a paragraph of that font. But you can still have those embellishments, but just be wise of like what you might like might be hard for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, I have my website the way I want it exactly, but the navigation I saw yesterday on this one website I was reviewing it was like a little tag, and I thought it was an ad. I thought they had like a floating ad the whole time because it looked like
Oh.
a little badge that you're supposed to click versus what has been standardized as like the hamburger menu or
Oh,
or
sure.
navigation. And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that's where I clicked." And if I don't know that, I know mom and dad are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm supposed to click here."
Right. Oh, wow. Yeah. So yeah, I like you said, it probably looked really fun,
Yeah,
but
it was
you know,
cool, but
yeah.
it took me a second. Oh, I was like, "Oh, okay." It was like a ribbon. You're like, I didn't know what that was for. Like, oh.
Oh,
Because
yeah, I would
they went really designery on it, and I was like, oh, okay,
yeah.
too much.
Were there any other like SEO tips for photographers that we should mention before we move
Sure,
on to
we'll
AI?
we'll just go through them real quick. So we talked about geo and keywords, blogging. Again, keep blogging. Blog as much as you can and stagger it out if you need to. It just helps with evergreen type content, but also
Mm,
showcasing that you're in business. If you have a
mm-hmm.
session, it shows that you're working. And when someone sees that you're working, it's great versus them seeing, oh, the last time they blogged was in 2016.
Mm,
No one wants to see that.
right.
Backlinking strategies are really good. Collaborate with some of your vendors if you use a location constantly, or maybe a DJ. It's a way that you guys can kind of work together, especially if you do weddings or anything like that, or specific locations. Maybe you shoot stuff at these specific locations. Like, oh, I know this one place that owns a beautiful barn. They let me shoot there all the time. Oh, they have a website. How can you showcase and work together in that way? This gives
Mm,
you a link back, but also a link on their website back to you, and you can do one for them. It shows that you're communicating. And obviously, if you have anything that is like, event related, if you're able to get your name attached to like a news article, like that through like a news and reporter type thing, that's bigger deal. So the more important the backlink is, the more spectacle, I guess you could say. Google's going to be like, hey, this is from a reliable source, so I'm going to showcase it more. But
mm-hmm.
just having more of your link out there, when people search for your stuff, you're going to show up more in Google, and that's more prevalent for them at the end of the day.
I need to do that.
And it's the little things that we don't think about. Like you're like, oh, how can I get better at SEO? Well, it's these little strategies here and there that you could do. A lot of people say, oh, you have to pay for the best SEO strategist in the world. Really, you don't. As
Mm-hmm.
I've seen SEO companies do for $1,000. We do it for $100 a month. And at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, they're all saying the same thing. You need to do X, Y, and Z. But a lot of people don't want to do that work, or they don't find the time. And that's the hardest part, is really it comes down to time, because you're a business owner
Right.
and you don't need to be a web expert, a designer, and everything else. You just need to make sure that the photos can come out beautiful. So
Right, right. Well, and that's why I love that you do offer it. So if I feel like it does, like you said, it comes down
yeah,
to time. Where if it's just like I don't have the time to do this, I would rather just
pay something else.
pay. Yeah, because sometimes it's just a lot
Yeah,
easier that
sometimes it's
way.
just easier.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just be mindful. There are people out there who, say $1,000 a month, and you're getting the same thing that someone down the street for a couple $100 less is offering. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of your business, what you can afford, and is it worth it at the end of the day?
Mm-hmm. Well, Jeremy, I'd love to move into like AI.
Oh,
I know
the
AI is.
word.
I know. I feel like everybody. It's like now. It's just I don't think you go a day without either talking about AI or using it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's flooded
and
the space.
it really has. And
Yeah.
anymore, like when you watch like, you know, reels or TikToks, there'll be like, I'm like, is this real or
Oh,
is this
yeah.
AI?
Is this
And
real, real?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's gotten really crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So with AI and photography, I feel like it has kind of, and I feel like it's shaken things up a little bit for the
Mhm.
creative industry. What's your take on how AI tools are impacting photography and website design?
That's a really great question. So, when we're looking at the photography world, the visual space is just rampant right now with AI. People are
Mm-hmm.
questioning authenticity, originality, the value it brings. But luckily, and even my kids notice it now. Like my kids are like, "Dad, that's AI generated." And they're like 10 and
Oh,
7 years
wow.
old.
Oh,
Like
wow.
they're already primed and tuned in to like what's fake and what's not. It's the older generations, the moms and dads, and even
Mm-hmm.
grandparents that are now like, oh, well, that was real, right? No, 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 no. Like you have to kind of tell them a little bit. And sometimes I question, as I turn 40
Mm-hmm.
next month, I'm like, that was really good. Is that real? Like, and then you have to go and ask AIs if is this real?
Right.
Like it's
Right.
gotten
I
to the point
know.
where you lean on these things so much. But yeah, it becomes a question about authenticity. And with
Mm.
photographers, I know that can feel scary because you're like, well, how do I compete with that? Luckily, I think we go through trends. We go
Mm-hmm.
through areas of like where we get flooded with this space, these looks. Think about the last decade. The things that were popular in 2013, like HDR photography.
Right.
Where's that at now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People wanting to do heavy filtrations on their skin in Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that now? It's all comes in these waves of like everyone's gonna do it, but then it goes away.
Right,
AI,
right.
I think we're already seeing like where people are starting to distinguish it. Now we see a lot of bigger brands leaning on it because
Mm,
they're seeing ways of like how can we minimize costs, et cetera, by using these
mm-hmm.
tools. But for individuals, I see them taking it as an opportunity to showcase the real. Like, hey, here's something that I'm doing and here's how I make it authentic for your experience. Now, of course, there might be some tools that you can lean on. Like photographers have an abundance of tools that are now being having AI added to it. Like just look at Photoshop, the generative fill options,
Right, right.
yeah, Lightroom and some of it's like culling and things like that. Those types of things, those are perfect tools for photographers to lean on. Because
Yes.
why wouldn't you? You're like,
Right,
oh, you can do
right.
this in 1 second versus me spending hours doing this?
Right,
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
It does help, especially if you are a lone wolf and you're not like having an assistant or multiple people on your staff. But even then, the staff member is at that point being like empowered to like, hey, we can lean on these tools to get more clients. We can get
Mm-hmm.
more time spent on this stuff. Then we can speed through and like, hey, instead of doing one session a day, guys, we can do three. You know,
Right.
those are types of things that people have to get in the mindset of how can these AI things improve those things that are just tedious.
Mm-hmm.
Like some things that we have, like even through our AI system, PhotoBiz has a PhotoBiz AI, and it leans on for
Yes.
helping for writing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you're stuck on what to say on a page or a blog. You can lean on these tools, say, hey, I would like to write a blog about X this session. Here's what happened during it. Here's the locations, and it'll formulate something for you. And for the most part, you
Mm-hmm.
can look at it and it does a good job. But of course, you want to probably do a little self edit here and there on it.
Right.
And that's perfectly okay as long as you understand that it's not a replacement tool because photography at some point that person can go and shoot something with their cell phone already, which has always been the biggest troublesome part for photography anyway, as camera phones
Right.
become like 50 to 20 megabyte stills.
Yes, yes.
But they still can't shoot anything really beyond like selfies. And
Mm-hmm.
even that's starting to dwindle. Remember the era of selfies was so popular, but now people are now pointing their camera at locations. Experiences are becoming bigger.
Yes, yes.
I think the last few years we've realized like hopefully people have realized like capturing the moment is more important than just yourself.
Right, right. Yes. Yeah.
Now photographers have that ability to like if they're looking for those specific moments like hey you want me to get a family photo, you want me to get your wedding session, your senior moment because this is you're stepping into the world after this moment. I think those are the moments that people are now starting to turn back to saying like I really want someone to get this last moment because my cell phone isn't going to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I think that's where we're at. And utilizing AI to help with situations like this is great. Um, like you could have like, oh, I don't have time to do all these blemish touch ups. You could have a system that just automatically does it and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, I'm happy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it also comes down to client education. You need to educate them on the differences between crafted photography and AI composites. We're starting to see where, again, what is that real? And you being a crafter is the way it's gone in. I do on the side, I do a lot of drawing and art.
Mm.
And in the last year, it's been really prevalent that, artists are very gung ho about, I want to see real artists. And AI is trying to compete with it, but I've done really well in this space because people are like, I want real art. So drawing not digitally anymore has been a big part of my life. I
Oh,
draw on pen
okay.
and paper, and
Gotcha.
I can sell pieces of art for, triple the amount that I was doing digitally.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, like
Where,
that's a
yeah,
real thing.
it's a real thing. It's authentic. And I know I would think we use that word a lot, but but I just feel like it's the right where it's a tangible and it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you feel, and I've seen some other photographers now try to find film to shoot on. Like
Yes.
because there's always this thing. We go through it, even like technology, we went through a streaming era. Now everyone wants to go back to maybe discs. People
Right.
who were listening to streaming music I collect vinyls. Like
Mm-hmm.
we go through this era of like we still want to capture an experience and feeling that a bygone era, it feels like, quote unquote, but it
Yes.
still exists.
Right.
And they're still printing vinyl albums because
Yes.
it's more a niche. That's the big part, is finding like a niche and dialing down into it, with these things. So if you are a photographer that shoots families, what can you have as your X factor at the end of the day? Well, I shoot family photos and I use real film. Like,
Mm.
oh wow, it's going to look different than anything you've seen out there,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the types of things that can really, deviate you from the world of, or plague, whatever you want to call it, of AI happening right now. But it will recede in time as people become more accustomed to it. Like, well, I know that's fake.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like if you just maybe if just you utilizing how, like you said, for photographers of like helping in Photoshop and things
Yeah.
like that, or helping write your blog or anything like that, and just not dwell on like, is this going to take over? Because it's
Yeah.
at the end of the day, someone also, they don't know, people can, they might be able to hit, the shutter button, but
Right.
do they know lighting? Do they know how to pose? I mean,
Hmm.
they're always going to still come to you. But yeah, and I, like you said about the film, I've just seen a lot lately of people being like, I'm dusting off my film camera.
Getting that Fuji film out. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's great. I love it. I love seeing that there's more placement of, artistic value being placed again. Like, we got
Mhm.
so used to digital, but it
Right.
is nice to see that there's this idea of like, how can we make something feel, tangible again?
Hmm.
And I really like seeing those experiences, especially in this age where, this age of like over saturation of AI.
Mm. Let's pause for something that's totally worth pausing for. If you're juggling a million tools to run your business, let me put you on to something better. I've been using PhotoBiz.com for over 10 years for my website, blog, booking mini sessions, even scheduling podcast guests. I can capture emails and send out newsletters all in one place. And honestly, I haven't even scratched the surface on everything PhotoBiz can do. It's easy, professional, and their customer support is a chef's kiss. And guess what? Just for listeners of The One Behind the Lens, you'll get 25% off your first year with the code POD25. That's POD25. Or by hitting the link in the show notes. So, talking about AI and SEO, do you see anything like with AI affecting SEO? Like, will it change how people search for photographers in the next 2 to 3 years at all?
Oh, definitely, especially as the search engines are now. And I've logged into Google today, and it immediately says, "Do you want me to switch on AI mode?" I was like, "What is
Oh,
this?" Like, yeah, so that's brand new today.
yeah,
So they are trying to train the systems to abandon regular search, and that can be very scary because this is a new territory that we're walking into. So I did
Mm-hmm.
switch on AI mode. I wanted to test it out. I
Right.
asked a simple question, and what it
Right.
did was it kind of did, if you've messed with Chat GPT or anything like that, I asked a question and it started to filter me sources and things like that. Like, yes, this is the best way to do X. I was like, great,
Mm-hmm.
that's all I needed. But, what if I asked it, like, show me the best photographer in my location? It's going to look at things like AI, your location, reviews, you name it. And it's going to compile this all down for the user at the end of the day versus just
Sure.
searching and getting kind of a scatter shot. It's now
Mm.
going to curate it saying, Kate is the best photographer in your location. Why is this? You should click here. It'll tell you all that now.
Wow.
It's going to be very it's going to be very interesting, especially in this space, because how's it going to know that? Well, it's going to look at reviews.
Right.
So that means Google reviews are probably going to be more important. So think about
Okay.
that, guys. We want to make sure that you're getting as many Google. And I always tell people, like, oh, I just started my Google Business Profile. Tell your old clients, how long you've been in business? 10 years? Go back 10 years and say, hey, can you please leave me a review? I just started this page. I want people to know that you had a great experience, even if it was 10, 5, 1, year ago. You
Right.
need to get those reviews, get them going. Because it
Yeah.
seems like AI is going to definitely start looking at like, oh, best. Okay, I know who the best is, and it's going to immediately tap into itself based on reviews
Mm,
and then location. Location, like we said, like so if you are in, Texas or anything like that, you're going to have to dial in and say Dallas, Texas, or that town specifically. If you're like on the outskirts of somewhere, uh, those things are going to be very prevalent as search goes on. But then it's also going to probably look at the quality of content. So that means making sure that you have up to date photos, blogs, again, blogs,
mm,
because it's going to show that this website is being constantly updated, if that makes sense. You don't need to
right.
be constantly updating your website overall, but the blog will be kind of the thing that taps Google saying, I've made a change, I've done something because they have bots that are constantly crawling your websites and other websites in the world. If it doesn't see significant changes, the bots basically get lazy and don't go to you. They're like, nothing to look at here.
Right.
Yeah. But if it sees someone's like doing a lot of work and making changes and being up to date, and then it's like, huh, well, this person's doing good. Let me show this more to people. It seems engaging to me. And this had a 1 minute like login time. Someone was really looking at this page. I want to
Mm,
showcase this to more people. Like it looks at all these things that, if you observe in your Google Analytics or anything like that, or Search Console, it's taking all that data first and then it's examining and just going like, so it's a curator. Google is a
right.
curator at this point.
Yeah. So definitely, if you do not have a Google My Business, get
Or
that.
business profile, whatever it's called these days. It
Yeah,
changed its
yeah,
name.
I know. Have that. And I even utilize where they have something like I can't remember. I don't know exactly what it says, but it's like tell it's not really a promotion, but it's something that you can just add stuff for free on there,
Yeah.
like tell what's going on or whatever,
Yep.
and do it every once in a while where I'm like, oh, I should go in there and just put in that I'm starting a podcast or,
Oh yeah.
things like that because again, it's free
Yeah.
and I feel like you're saying Google is going to want you to have all those updates.
Yeah, they definitely are looking at people to, they want more people to utilize their features and tools. And I used to say that's like the best hack. But as AI
Mm.
becomes more of, in there, it's definitely become like these thing that they probably look at first. Because you right now, if you don't have AI mode on, you can still do it. But like if you say photography's nearby, if I'm just someone, it's looking right at where you are when you say that, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
give you like a 20, maybe 20-mile radius, right? And then it's just going to populate and you're like, oh, okay, but the person closest to me might not have the best reviews. They were just the closest near me. But
Mm-hmm.
now with
Mm-hmm.
this AI mode on, I'm going to say find me the best photographer near me, and now it's going to be like, well, this person has the greatest reviews and
Right.
they're only 2 miles from your location. you know
Yeah.
that's where
Yeah.
it's going to get really scary, I feel like, for some people, especially if they haven't
Mm-hmm.
populated that type of data into their business. So I definitely recommend getting that online just fast. And if you haven't got any reviews, go back to past clientele and say, hey, let them know too, like Google's making some crazy updates, and this is really going to help my business at the end of the day. If you had a great experience, please leave me a review here. Like, let people be empathetic to the situation. I mean, we are all going through, so much changes. So yeah.
Right, right. And it really only takes a few minutes of their time. And I know you can get the link, like if you email them or text them or whatever,
Hmm.
you can get the link to send to them so they don't have to go hunt for your page. They can just
Right.
click on it and
Yeah,
write
copy
their
paste, copy paste. Or if you
yes,
got a newsletter
yes.
system, send it out through your mailing.
Maybe offer a little something at their next,
Yeah.
session if they
You- Free
post a
print,
review.
something. Who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I love all those like kind of like future trends and really like now trends that we just
Hmm.
need to get on. We've kind of talked about this a little, kind of a little bit, but for photographers who are overwhelmed by building a website, how does PhotoBiz simplify the process?
Sure. So if you're a DIY person, we have that fully for you. So you can dive right in. You select a template. We have, tons of templates that you can choose from. Once that's in there and you have the design, you can see everything is in there as placeholders. You can change it real quick by just adding your images, or you can change the text as well. Now we have PhotoBiz AI. You can, if you're struggling with what to write about, like, oh, I need to write a welcoming message, but I don't know what to say. Just always keep those context clues at the side. You can always have something listed like in a notepad, like
Mm.
I I am blah 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 blah. Jane Doe Photography, Greensboro, North Carolina. I do senior sessions. You could have that and just copy it into every block and say, I need a welcoming message da 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 da, make it warm and welcoming, and then click, and it'll generate text for you. You can then read through it and then make your edits as you go. Hit save, and that's done. You can go through that, so that helps makes things a little bit faster and easier, which we want. We also have that in the SEO tab. If you're struggling with SEO, you can say the same types of things like Jane Doe Photography, Greensboro, North Carolina, 20 years as a family or senior photographer, and it'll generate that text for you. So it's all in the parameters for Google. We have also set character limits in there so you can see what Google recommends is already in there, and it'll create the keywords as well. Hit save changes, and that page is done.
Wow.
But if you want to add more stuff, we have pre-designed blocks now. So when you click it, there's different looks already built in. So you just need to add an extra block for any type of block. So like images, text blocks, video blocks, you name it. When you click it, you get that look in there. You can customize it how you want to, then add your video or images right in, and it's already stylized for you. We also
Mm.
have pre-designed pages. So if you ever need something, extra, like, oh, I need to build a landing page for this, you click on the landing page tab. There's different looks in there. An about page, there's different looks for there. You name it. We have all these little things in there to help expedite the situation, but also make it easy at the end of the day. Now, if you don't have
Yeah.
time, now we also have services you can always lean on, like our We Do It For You, We Build It For You service, where we'll actually take your content, we'll put it into a website, we'll write it up for you, and do the SEO for you. That you can take advantage of. We have custom sites. If you need someone to make something with all the flourishes, we could do that as well. We have SEO services. You name it. We try to cater to our customers at all times. Where we also have, the biggest thing that makes PhotoBiz is we have a support team. So you can call us, you can live chat with us. It's always there. You can always lean on us, and we'll be there to assist you at all times. And if you need just, like what we're doing right now, if you need a coach, we have coaching services as well. They're a little bit more affordable if you don't want a full-on service, but you just want to have someone work on your website for an hour, you can do that as well. And it's amazing what we were able to do in that time. So
Yeah, well, yeah, because I feel like an hour with someone who knows exactly what they're
right.
what they're doing, and if you have it kind of ready, but you're like, hey, I just need XYZ.
We try to cater to all types of photographers, every type of designer, people that know what to do. We're there for them if they run into a technical issue. For people who don't know where to start, we can do it all for them so they don't have to worry about it. So there's so many things, and we try to make the designer, the DIY, portion as easy as possible. We keep implementing. In the last 18 months, we've created so many things that make it so much easier that it blows your mind. You're like, how can it get easier? Like,
Right.
I'm always like that. And I've used other website builders in the past, like WordPress, Squarespace. I've had to help someone with a Wix website once before, and it's always like, where do I go? What do I do? There's an update. Oh, I have to update WordPress for it to even function anymore.
Right. We
There's
don't
so
have to
many
worry about
things.
that.
Right.
PhotoBiz.
Yeah, all those things are seamless. They just
Yeah.
automatically get added, and you just get the benefits. And that's what I've always been really excited about since day one working there. Is like, man, we do really try to make it easy. And that's something that you don't see a lot happen with the web space these days. And I always, you know, kudos to us. I mean, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I've always been proud about that. Like, yeah. Because I had a friend was like recently was like, "Hey, can you take a look at my website?" And I was like, "Where do you go?" He's like, and he was he's like, "Oh, you do." I was like, "Wow, that's not
It,
intuitive as much as I thought it would be."
right, right. And I kind of did the same thing where I was helping with our local chamber and on theirs, and I was like, I what? Like, like I was getting I was getting frustrated, but I also was like, I'm gonna figure this out. But then I was I was like, okay, where's their chat? Like, I'm gonna help,
Yeah,
can I get help? Because that's what I do at PhotoBiz when I can't figure something out. And their chat was really not great either. So it
Yeah.
was just kind of like the whole experience. I was just like, oh, I'm so thankful that I have PhotoBiz. Is I just had something with PhotoBiz where, and it was something goofy. Like I was like, oh yeah, that's what I do. But they told me, and I was just like, oh, yep. But I got on the chat really quick and had my question, and it was answered,
Hmm.
and right away, and I could figure it out. And I know in the past, when I first kind of was starting with PhotoBiz, there have been times when they would call me and you guys would
Yeah.
call and walk me through it if it was something a little bit deeper. And like, again, I was just starting out with it, where now, it was something with my footer. I had something and I was like, I don't want this on my page. And they were like, well, that's in your footer. Just turn off the footer on that page. And I was like, oh, yes. So I feel like you might have told this already while you were talking about all the features of PhotoBiz, but is there, one hidden gem about PhotoBiz that you can tell us about?
Oh, okay. Well, there's an upcoming feature I like to say that I think will be a hidden gem. But
Okay.
for those who are like, I want this, I just want to make quick changes, right? We're going to have like this new quick change toggle that's going to be in the block where you don't even have to click on it to go and see all the layouts, but it's going to be like little arrows that you can then tap left and right, and it's going to change the look based on like if you have it set to like show only 3 items, right?
Okay.
You'll be able to click and boom, boom through. You'll go from circles to squares to portrait mode, and you're not even having to dive deep into the menu. That is going to be like I think a game changer for like people who just want quick updates, or
Right.
people who are master design types, right? Who just like, oh, I can do this quick. Bah, 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 bah. That's gonna be like I saw they showed me like a test of it the other week, and I was like, oh, I was like, y'all just made my day. Because now y'all just made me want to work faster for customers because that's what it's gonna give me that ability. But for the user
Mm.
itself, it's also gonna make it where you're like, oh, I just wanted to change this real quick. And you're like, oh, perfect, I'm done. Like you're not having to navigate or dive in. You're like, oh, well, this is exactly the look I was going for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
going to be
that's
awesome.
gonna be coming soon, and that'll be a hidden gem, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like you kind of even just answered the other question I had was about like any exciting features or updates. So that is
Yeah.
that's one that we can look forward to.
Yeah, and for future stuff, a lot more automations and stuff like that
Mm,
are down the pipeline.
nice.
For like our scheduling tool for our forms and stuff like that. Now, when they come out, I'm not quite sure yet, but I do know that's those are some things. Just making it more manageable for that side. So someone fills out a form, this will happen, this will happen. That's going to be really, really awesome for the user at the end of the day. So that's something to look out for too in the future.
Awesome. I always feel like there's always something. I love reading the email that we get that just gives us what's happening because it's really easy to read. I can just scroll really
Yeah.
quick and I can click on something if I'm like, ooh, I really want to know a little bit more about this. And I can read up a little bit more, but I'm always excited about all of the new things that are happening. And like you said, I feel like lately, the last year and a half, it's been quite a lot. You guys have been working hard over there.
Yeah, our development team has been like just hitting like quote unquote bangers after bangers because I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And then next week, wow, this is awesome. Like I'm just like every week, like they tell me things are coming, but then when I see them implemented, I'm like, okay, this is something to get really excited about. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So, if somebody's who's listening, if they're thinking about like, oh, I don't have a website yet, or maybe mine is really difficult and I'm thinking maybe I want to look into PhotoBiz. Is there anything that they can do to just get more information about PhotoBiz?
Yeah, sure. You can always go to photobiz.com. We have those options there. You can read through the website. You can see the pricing options that we have for both the DIY versus the we build it for you option. But you can always call us too. We have a sales representative. You can talk to them about it. walk you through. They'll look at your website if you want to, if you have a current one now, and what we can do versus what you currently have. So that's always nice to kind of get an extra eyes on it, because I already do that already with the website reviews weekly on Friday. But if you want have someone, today, if you want to go today and have them talk to you about your website, they'll take a look and see what we can conjure up for you, because we're always available for that. So, anything you want, if you need consultation that side, all that stuff's for free. We'll talk to you about your website before you make any changes.
Jeremy, the listeners are going to get a little special treat from PhotoBiz just for listening to this podcast. Can you give them a little insight of what they get to snag up?
Yes. So just for listeners of this podcast, you're going to get an exclusive 25% off annual plan option with a promo code POD25, POD25 at checkout when you select annual plan. So you can put that in, go ahead and get the discount. You're going to get a huge savings at the end of the day, because you're already getting a discount if you sign up annually. So it'll be almost like another month off. So it'll be like you're getting it for 9 months versus 12 in your first year. So, hey, take advantage of that. That's awesome, right?
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I would sign up for that.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. And this is exclusive just for your listeners. So, yeah, take advantage of it.
Awesome. Thank you. And yes, thank you so much for doing that. That's amazing. Jeremy, thank you so much for being on The One Behind the Lens.
Yeah, this is really fun. I'd love to be back in the future, maybe next season.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love it. Thank you again. Shutter Squad, I know you're still here because you have been eating all of this for breakfast, right? What an episode with Jeremy from PhotoBiz. I hope you walked away with some actionable tips for improving your photography website, boosting your SEO, and navigating AI in this creative industry. And if you're ready to take your website to the next level, PhotoBiz is generously offering 25% off their annual plan for podcast listeners when you use the code POD25. That's POD25 at checkout. So don't miss on that. Remember, your website is more than just a gallery. It's a tool to showcase your story, attract the right clients, and grow your business. Until next time, shutter up and shine, friends.